Goodnight Moon, Margaret Wise Brown, gentle, thoughtful music begins and then fades into the background. Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about a book that many of us probably remember from our earliest days, a book that has lulled millions of children to sleep for over 75 years. It's a simple, quiet, and profoundly comforting story. Goodnight Moon, by Margaret Wise Brown, with illustrations by Clement Hurd. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a children's book. A bunny says goodnight to things in a room. What's there to talk about? And on the surface, you're right. But beneath that simple surface lies a masterpiece of developmental psychology, a radical departure from the children's literature of its time, and a timeless lesson in mindfulness and security. Let's start by setting the scene. When Goodnight Moon was published in 1947, the world of children's books was very different. Stories were often moralistic fables or grand adventures. Think of the cautionary tales of the Brothers Grimm or the exciting journeys in other popular stories. They were meant to teach, to warn, or to excite. Then along comes Margaret Wise Brown. She was a pioneer of the here and now school of thought. She believed that young children weren't necessarily dreaming of faraway lands or complex moral dilemmas. Their world was immediate, sensory, and centered on their direct environment. Their biggest adventures were the daily routines of waking up, playing, and, most importantly, going to bed. Goodnight Moon is the ultimate expression of this philosophy. It's not a story in the traditional sense. There's no real plot, no conflict, no climax. Instead, it's a ritual, a ceremony. It's a gentle, repetitive process of acknowledging the world and then letting it go, piece by piece, to embrace the quiet of the night. Think about the opening lines. In the great green room, there was a telephone and a red balloon and a picture of the cow jumping over the moon. We're immediately grounded in a specific, tangible space. The language is simple, rhythmic, and almost hypnotic. Brown uses repetition and a soothing cadence that mimics a lullaby. It's poetry for the pre-verbal mind. The book's structure is pure genius. First, it establishes the room and its contents. We see the two little kittens, the pair of mittens, the little toy house, and the young mouse. We get our bearings in this great green room. Then the ritual begins. The quiet old lady whispers, "Hush," setting a calm, reverent tone. And the little bunny, tucked in bed, starts saying goodnight. This act of saying goodnight is so powerful for a child. Bedtime can be a scary moment. It's a separation from parents, from the light, from the familiar world of daytime. What Brown does is empower the child to take control of this transition. By saying good night to each object, the bunny is essentially cataloging his world, confirming that everything is in its place, and giving himself permission to separate from it for the night. Good night, room. Good night, moon. Good night, cow jumping over the moon. He's not being abandoned. He is the one bidding farewell. It's an active, not a passive process. And let's talk about Clement Hurd's illustrations. They are just as crucial as the text. Did you ever notice the magic that happens in the artwork? At the beginning of the book, the great green room is brightly lit. The colors are vibrant. But as the pages turn and the clock on the mantelpiece advances, the room gets progressively darker. The light from the window fades and the shadows lengthen. This visual progression perfectly mirrors the passage of time and the descent into sleep. It's a subtle, non-verbal cue that reinforces the book's purpose. One of the most charming details is the little mouse. If you look closely, the mouse appears on every full-color page, but its position changes each time. It's a quiet little game for an observant child, another anchor to the present moment, another familiar friend in the room. And have you ever noticed the book on the nightstand? It's Goodnight Moon itself. It's a wonderfully meta, self-referential touch. And next to it is a copy of The Runaway Bunny, another famous collaboration between Brown and Hurd. It's a sweet little Easter egg, connecting this world to another of their beloved stories, which is itself about the unbreakable bond between a mother and child. Interestingly, this book was considered quite revolutionary, and not everyone was a fan at first. The New York Public Library famously refused to carry it for decades, until 1972. They felt it was too sentimental and not literary enough. They missed the point entirely. Its power doesn't come from a complex narrative, but from its deep intuitive understanding of a child's emotional needs. Margaret Wise Brown herself was a fascinating character. She was a charismatic, energetic woman who never had children of her own, but seemed to have a direct line to the consciousness of a young child. She wrote over 100 books, but Goodnight Moon became her enduring legacy. Tragically, she died very young, at just 42, from an embolism after a routine surgery. It's heartbreaking to think of all the other gentle, wise stories she might have given the world. So, why has this book endured for so long, selling tens of millions of copies and being translated into dozens of languages? Because it taps into a universal human need, the need for safety, routine, and a peaceful transition from the chaos of the day to the quiet of the night. It teaches a fundamental form of mindfulness. Be here, in this room. Look at the things around you. Acknowledge them. Now gently let them go. It's a meditation for toddlers. For parents, the book is a gift. It provides a predictable, calming script for one of the most challenging parts of the day. Reading Goodnight Moon becomes a shared ritual, a moment of connection and tranquility that reassures both parent and child. It's a signal that the day is done and it's safe to rest. In a world that feels faster, louder, and more chaotic than ever, the simple, quiet message of Goodnight Moon is more relevant than ever. It reminds us of the profound power of whispering hush, of taking a moment to acknowledge our world, and of the peace that can be found in simply saying goodnight. Goodnight noises everywhere. It's a perfect book. Not because it tells a grand story, but because it accomplishes its small, perfect mission with grace, wisdom, and a deep love for the inner world of a child. It is, quite simply, a literary lullaby. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey back into the great green room. What are your memories of Goodnight Moon? I'd love to read them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing for more explorations into the stories that shape us. Until next time, take care and sleep well.